Ladies and gentlemen, there is a curious paradox at the heart of life. The more you try to hold on to something, whether it's success, love, safety, or control, the more it slips through your fingers. But the moment you let go, truly let go, the very thing you were chasing starts to arrive on its own. It's as though life is structured in such a way that clinging repels and surrender attracts. You see, most people live with the illusion that they are separate from the universe, that they must wrestle with it, conquer it, manipulate it to get what they want. But this view sets you against life, as though you were an outsider trying to force your way in. It's a painful way to exist, because it's not true. You are not a stranger in this universe. You are the universe in human form, playing the part of an individual. Just as a wave is not separate from the ocean, but a momentary expression of it, you too are a temporary expression of the whole. And so when you fight life, you're essentially fighting yourself. We often chase after things with desperation, grasping, yearning, trying to control outcomes. We believe that if we don't hold on tightly, everything will fall apart. But that belief is born out of fear, not wisdom. It arises from forgetting who and what we are. Letting go does not mean resignation. It doesn't mean giving up or becoming passive. Letting go is an act of deep trust. It's a surrender to something bigger than the limited mind. It is realizing that the intelligence that beats your heart, grows trees, spins galaxies, and orchestrates every particle in the cosmos knows what it's doing. It doesn't need micromanagement from your ego. When you let go, you return to your natural state, a state of harmony with the flow of life. And when you're in flow, the universe doesn't need to push or pull you. It moves through you. What you were trying to chase starts to show up without effort. The irony is that the very control you think you need is the thing blocking what you want. Control creates tension, and tension blocks the flow. Surrender creates space, and space allows the mystery of life to unfold. Think of water in a river. It doesn't struggle to move. It simply flows, finding its way around rocks and bends, always moving forward. When you are like water, when you allow, when you flow, life begins to unfold with a strange kind of grace. Have you noticed that some of your greatest insights, deepest peace, and most unexpected blessings came when you stopped trying so hard? Maybe you were exhausted, or maybe you had finally had enough, and in that moment of giving up, something shifted. That's the magic of letting go. That's when the current of life can finally carry you. Letting go is not a weakness. It is a profound strength. Because it takes courage to trust something bigger than yourself. It takes clarity to see that control is often an illusion, and grace to release the illusion. In letting go, you stop seeing life as a battle and begin to see it as a dance where the steps are not fully choreographed by the mind, but discovered moment by moment. And in this dance, you realize that the universe was never withholding anything from you. It was simply waiting for you to relax, to soften, to stop grabbing and grasping, to become open and receptive. Because when you let go, not just mentally, but deeply, life flows in with gifts more extraordinary than anything your mind could have imagined. And you see that the universe never had to be controlled. It simply needed to be trusted. The more tightly we cling to something, whether it's a person, an outcome, a plan, or even an identity, the more we experience its absence. It's as if the universe has a built-in paradox. The more force you apply in trying to capture what you desire, the more that thing seems to retreat. This isn't punishment, but a kind of built-in wisdom. When you're grasping, your mind and body tighten. You operate from fear and scarcity. That fear generates resistance, and resistance interrupts flow. It's like trying to clutch water in your hand. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. Letting go, on the other hand, creates space. It's not giving up, but opening up. In that space, life has room to move, to breathe, to align. What once felt far away begins to show up uninvited, as if it had been waiting for the right conditions all along. This only makes sense when we stop imagining ourselves as isolated individuals battling against the universe. The illusion of separateness is deeply ingrained. We are taught to see ourselves as entities who must conquer, survive, dominate, or win. But in truth, there is no separate you apart from the whole. You are like a wave in the ocean, momentarily distinct in shape, but never apart from the sea itself. This understanding isn't just poetic, it's liberating. Because if you are not against the universe but an expression of it, then what you seek is not outside of you, it's already moving toward you. The struggle ends the moment you see the unity behind the appearance of duality. Letting go becomes natural when you realize you were never meant to force the river but to flow with it. The need to control arises not from strength but from fear. We fear uncertainty, change, and the unknown, so we try to dominate reality to make it safe, but in doing so we place ourselves in a cage. Life loses its rhythm when we try to micromanage every beat. The mind becomes a tyrant, always planning, predicting, defending. But the truth is, the very intelligence that grows trees, orchestrates stars, and beats your heart doesn't require your constant supervision. When we release the need to manage every detail, we begin to feel a deeper rhythm, a trust in something far more vast and intelligent than thought alone. That trust brings peace. Control is exhausting. Surrender is energizing. Letting go does not mean becoming passive. It does not mean you stop caring or acting. Instead, it means acting from a different place, a place of inner stillness rather than inner panic. Surrender is an active relationship with reality. It means saying yes to what is, not because you have no choice, but because you understand that resistance adds suffering. There's a grace in aligning with life, like a dancer moving with the music rather than against it. You don't lose power, you gain alignment. And alignment is where true power lives. Not the power to force outcomes, but the power to harmonize with the deeper unfolding. When you stop pushing, something remarkable happens. Life starts to move with you. Opportunities begin to arise organically. People enter your life without effort. Insights arrive in moments of silence. This is the nature of flow. You don't chase, you don't force, you participate, you respond, you allow. Life becomes a dance, not a war. The more you let go, the more you find yourself in the right place at the right time without trying to be. Things click, decisions make themselves. There's a sense of being guided rather than being lost in endless analysis. And most importantly, letting go allows you to open, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Openness is magnetic. It draws experiences, people, and events that resonate with your truest self. The universe responds not to effort, but to energy. A heart that is open, a mind that is spacious, a being that trusts. These are the conditions under which life blossoms. When you stop pushing, life stops resisting. When you stop chasing, what you seek begins to come. Not because you gave up, but because you finally got out of your own way. The universe was never trying to deny you anything. It simply moves best when you allow it to move through you. The illusion of separation keeps us trapped in fear and struggle. From a young age, we're taught that we are individuals, distinct and apart from the world around us. This belief shapes how we approach life. We see it as something out there that we must master, conquer, or protect ourselves from. But this idea is not only false, it's the root of much of our suffering. You are not a separate observer of the universe. You are an expression of it. Just as a wave is not separate from the ocean, your existence is not apart from the cosmos. It is the cosmos, momentarily experiencing itself through your body and mind. When you believe you're separate, you're constantly trying to manipulate life to serve this isolated self. You try to control relationships, outcomes, emotions, and even the future. But this separation is only a mental construct. The tree doesn't grow because it tries to, nor does the sun rise because it decides to. There is no separate entity behind the unfolding of these events. They simply happen. They are the spontaneous expressions of the universe. So too are you. Your thoughts, actions, choices, they arise not from isolation, but from the flow of everything. When you truly feel this, not just intellectually, but viscerally, you begin to let go. You let go of the exhausting need to prove yourself. You let go of the fear that you must do it all alone. You let go of resistance. And you begin to trust the current that has been carrying you all. In this trust there is peace. No longer are you standing against life, you become life. You no longer ask, how can I control this? Instead you ask, how can I participate in this more fully? The world softens, the chaos begins to make sense, and you start to see that the universe was never against you, it was only waiting for you to stop fighting it. Letting go of separation isn't a belief. It's an awakening to what has always been true. The wave returns to the ocean not by moving, but by remembering that it never left. The urge to control arises from a deep-seated fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of chaos, fear of losing what we love or not getting what we desire. This fear convinces us that unless we tightly grip life with our minds, everything will fall apart. So we try to control our emotions, others' opinions, the pace of events, the shape of outcomes. We become consumed by planning, predicting, and managing every detail, believing that safety lies in domination. But this kind of control doesn't bring peace. It brings tension. It creates a state of constant alertness where rest is impossible and joy becomes conditional. What we often fail to realize is that control is an illusion. The mind thinks it's the master of life, but it's merely one instrument in the orchestra. It can analyze, compare, and anticipate, but it cannot dictate the mystery that life is. Look at the body. You don't control your heartbeat, your breath while sleeping, the digestion of your food, or the healing of a wound. All of that happens naturally. The same intelligence that governs those processes also governs the unfolding of your life. The belief that you must take over the reins is like a leaf trying to steer the wind. It's exhausting and ultimately futile. True wisdom doesn't come from trying harder to manage life. It comes from trusting the flow of it. This doesn't mean that you stop making decisions or taking responsibility. It means that your decisions come from a deeper place, from clarity, not anxiety. You begin to act not out of desperation, but from alignment. You see that life has a rhythm, a timing, a hidden harmony, and your job isn't to control it, but to attune yourself to it. When you release the compulsion to control, you create space. In that space, new possibilities emerge. You become receptive rather than reactive. The mind begins to quiet, and intuition, the deeper intelligence that sees without needing to grasp, starts to speak. Control closes the door to miracles because it demands only what the ego can imagine. But letting go opens that door wide, allowing life to bring you things beyond your expectations. And often, what arrives is not just what you wanted, it's what you didn't even know you needed. Letting go is so often misunderstood. Many take it to mean apathy, weakness, or resignation, as if to surrender is to lose. But letting go, in its truest sense, is an act of immense strength. It is not laziness or inaction, it is clarity. It is the understanding that forcing life never brings real peace, and that true power comes not from resistance, but from alignment. Letting go is not abandoning life, it's embracing it fully, without the chains of fear and expectation. When you surrender, you don't stop caring. You stop clinging. You stop needing things to happen in your way and your time. You become responsive instead of reactive. You participate rather than control. Imagine a dancer who fights the rhythm, stiff, rigid, trying to impose their own beat. Now imagine one who melts into the music, whose body becomes an instrument of flow. The second dancer is not passive. They are alive, aware, present. This is the nature of true surrender. You are not less involved in life. You are more deeply in tune with it. It takes courage to let go, especially when the world teaches us that holding on is heroic. But letting go means you've seen through the illusion that your will alone must carry the burden of everything. You recognize the futility of clinging to things you cannot control. Outcomes, emotions, the behaviors of others, the impermanence of all things. You begin to live with openness. You begin to allow, to listen, to feel, without the urgency to reshape everything in your favor. And strangely, from this relaxed and surrendered state, your actions become more powerful, not because you're trying harder, but because you're moving with life rather than against it. Your energy is no longer scattered by resistance. It is focused, calm, and clear. This is not weakness. This is wisdom in motion. Letting go doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing only what is yours to do and allowing the rest to unfold. And it's in that allowing that something remarkable happens. Life begins to carry you. You no longer push the current. You ride it with grace and trust. When you stop resisting the flow of life, you begin to notice something extraordinary. A quiet intelligence moving through all things, including you. This intelligence doesn't speak in the loud voice of effort or control. It speaks in silence, in synchronicity, in the ease with which things start to unfold. You begin to feel as if life is not something you're managing, but something you're participating in. There's a subtle rhythm, a natural pulse beneath the noise of the thinking mind, and when you surrender to it, you start moving with the grain of the universe rather than against it. In this state of flow, things begin to happen with a kind of grace. It's not that challenges disappear, but you stop treating every obstacle as a personal enemy. You face life not with resistance, but with presence. Actions arise naturally, choices become clear without overthinking, and the next step often reveals itself without being forced. It feels as if life is dancing with you instead of pulling away from you. This is where many of the most meaningful things begin to appear. Without effort, without chasing, the right people show up, not because you manipulated the outcome, but because you aligned yourself with what is true. The timing of events begins to feel oddly perfect, even when things don't go according to your original plan. That's the irony. When you stop trying to make everything go your way, life finds better ways than you could have imagined. Flow is not about laziness, it's about deep alignment. You're still acting, still creating, still pursuing your path, but now it's rooted in awareness, not struggle. The pressure to be in control drops away, and in its place arises a confidence that life is unfolding as it should. You become like a river, always moving, always adjusting, but never forcing. It is not passivity, it is responsiveness, balance, and intuitive strength. This state of flow can't be faked, and it can't be forced. It comes when you drop the need to control, when you release the tension of self-importance, and when you allow life to breathe through you. You no longer need to push forward so aggressively because you trust that you're already being carried by something vast, intelligent, and deeply kind. When you finally let go, truly let go, something remarkable happens. You become open, not just in body, but in mind, in heart, in spirit. This openness is not weakness, it is a quiet, powerful receptivity. You are no longer filled with noise, expectations, or resistance. You're not demanding life to show up a certain way. You're simply available to life as it is, not as you insist it must be. And that availability is magnetic. The universe begins to respond to your openness, not to your effort. The more you soften, the more life begins to move toward you. What you've been chasing, struggling to achieve, or tirelessly trying to control suddenly begins to arrive, not because you gave up, but because you stopped getting in your own way. You stopped blocking the flow with fear, with tension, with desperation. You allowed the space for something greater than your plans to emerge. That space is essential, because life cannot pour itself into a vessel that is already full. When you are full of plans, fears, and demands, there's no room for the unexpected gift. But when you let go, you empty yourself. And in that emptiness, life rushes in. There's a rhythm to the universe, and it favors openness. You may have noticed this during times of great stillness, when you stopped trying, when you felt broken, when you finally surrendered, and suddenly clarity came, a solution appeared, the phone rang, an idea was born. That's not coincidence, that's alignment. That's life responding to the space you made by surrendering. We've been taught that the universe responds to force, to hustle, to striving, but it responds far more powerfully to stillness, trust, and authenticity. Your energy speaks louder than your words. Your openness allows life to touch you, to surprise you, to teach you. And in that relationship, in that intimacy with the unknown, you receive more than you ever could have taken by force. The universe was never withholding from you. It was only waiting for you to stop pushing. It was waiting for you to be still, to be quiet, to be open. Because in that openness, you don't just receive what you were looking for, you discover what you didn't even know you needed.